Hello everyone, this is Manohar Reddy, Department of Cybersecurity, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. So I am going to discuss about the concepts of the subject network security. So today I am going to discuss about the network security. So what is the introduction of the network security? So what is meant by network? What is meant by security? How we can define that, the combination of that network security. So today we are going to discuss about this introduction to the network security. Here we go through the session. So first one, introduction to the network security. So definition of network. So generally what is meant by network? How can we define that network? So network is a medium of connections between nodes or between set of devices or between computers. So a network is a group of connections. A group of connections or group of things. So here we can say that a network is a medium of connections between nodes or set of devices or computers. So all the devices are connected through a cable. So we can treat it as a network. A network is a consist of a group of computer systems or group of servers or group of networking devices are linked together to share resources. So to share resources is nothing but they can share their data as a files, their data as a folders, their data as a drives, anything. They can share the resources, including a printer or a file server. So all the network, all the sharing resources are done with the help of the network. So if all the devices are connected together or contacted together, then we can say that it is a network to sharing their resources, So whatever the resources are happening, like file sharing, drive sharing, folder sharing, anything, we can say that it is a sharing of the resources. That includes printers also, files also, folders also, anything. The connections is established by using either a cable media or a wireless media. So these two are the cable media or wireless media are the network connection types. We can access the network or we can create the network by using either a cable or either a wireless media. So like the way we can understand that define a network. So what we have to understand from here, a network is a medium of connections. It is nothing but it is a combination of connections or combination of set of devices or combination of computers that are connected together, in the form of either a cable media or either a wireless media. They can communicate it, they can combine, they can contact it, they can connect it with the help of cable media or else wireless media. Why they are connected together means they are going to sharing their resources. They are going to sharing their resources such as printers, files, folders, drives, anything we can share. For this purpose, we have to connected all the systems together or combined together. So that is called as a network. So definition of security. So security is a process of protecting data or protecting systems or protecting network from a different unauthorized actions or compromises. That means unauthorized actions are nothing but the events are happening with the help of unauthorized persons. Such type of activities are called as unauthorized actions. So they can access the channel, so that channel is compromised to protect the channel is compromised to give the data to explore for the unauthorized access. So to protect our data or to protect our systems from unauthorized access or unauthorized persons or unauthorized actions, we are going to protect ourselves. We are going to protect the data. We are going to protect the system as well. So this is a security. So security refers to the methods in terms of ITs, in terms of technical Security refers to the methods or tools or personnel used to defend an organization's digital assets. So the security refers to the methods or some tools or some personnels used to defend an organization's digital assets, some type of cyber attacks, some type of digital attacks. We are going to defend them. We are going to defend them. Further to defending purpose, we are going to use some methods or tools or some techniques, policies, principles we are going to apply. So that is nothing but a security in terms of the technical point of view. And an effective security strategy uses a range of approaches to minimize vulnerabilities and target many types of cyber threats. So the effective security strategy implements that to minimize the vulnerabilities as well as the targeting many types of cyber threats. So that is nothing but a security. We can say that in terms of technical point of view, in terms of a normal point of view, we are going to protecting our data and systems and network in the help of some technicals, principles, policies and everything. So that is nothing but a security. So from this slide, we have to understand that what is the definition of network and what is the definition of security. So due to this combination of these two terms, we are going to understand that what is meant by network security. So this term refers to the protection of networks. We are having a different types of networks: local area networks, wide area networks, metropolitan area networks, and we are going to protection of that networks and their service. Protecting of the networks as well as protecting of their service from unauthorized modifications, destructions or disclosure or provision of assurance that the network perform its critical functions correctly and there are no harmful side effects. Without affecting any other issues. We are going to protecting our networks as well as the services from unauthorized modifications, unauthorized destructions, unauthorized disclosure and unauthorized provision of assurance. So we are going to protect the networks as well as data for the services from unauthorized modifications, destructions and disclosures and the provision of assurance is nothing but the network security. So in simple terms, we can say that we are going to protecting a network or its services with the help of some technicals, principles and policies and everything. So with the help of them, we are going to protect our data, our systems, our network. So that is the term referred as network security. So here we can have some common security methods. How we are going to protect our systems, how we are going to protect our mobiles, how we are going to protect our network by applying some common security mechanisms that we referred in the regular day-to-day life. So what are those common security methods? Here, applying passwords to log into the system, to log into the mobiles, to log into the data or network. We are going to provide some usernames and passwords as well as only passwords. We are going to keep some usernames and passwords and only passwords. So that is one type of common security method, applying passwords. The second one is applying fingerprint technique. So that is nothing but biometric technique. When you are keeping the finger on the system or on the network device or on the data device, we can take that authentication and displace all the data related to our fingerprint authentication. And applying face recognition techniques, and applying iris techniques also, and applying speech recognition technique also, and applying captchas, applying OTP mechanisms, So these are all common security common security methods to do not access the data of the user or a network of the user or system of the user without giving the information of the particular user. You are not going to access that system or the data or network. So these are the basic security methods that every user wants to provide or protect from unauthorized access. So what are those? Applying passwords, applying fingerprint techniques, applying face recognition techniques, applying iris techniques, applying speech recognition techniques, applying captchas, applying OTP mechanisms. So these are the different common security methods. So whenever you want to log into the system, or whenever you log into the network, whenever you log into the mobiles, anywhere, the first term we referred it as a access. Access of the network, access of the data, or access of the system. So that access, how we are going to control from unauthorized modifications or from unauthorized persons. How we are going to control that access from unauthorized actions. So that is the thing we are going to next explain here. So the concept is what? Access control. So access control is a data security process. That enables organizations to manage who is authorized to access corporate data and resources. So whoever the person is authorized to log on to the data, or whoever the person is authorized to access the data, that person's identity, that person's data has to be verified. That's what we are mentioning here. Data security process. The data, who's the data? Users data security process is verified, and if he is authorized, then he can able to enter into the organization, and he can able to authorized to access all the corporate data and resources. So that is the access control. So access control is a data security process that enables that organizations to manage who is authorized to access the data, corporate data, or resources, whatever it may be. So if he wants to access all the data from the network or from the system, he must be authorized person to that system, or he must be authorized person to that network, so that he can able to access that system. And implementing access control is a crucial component of web application security. So implementing access control is a crucial component of web application security. So in nowadays, everything will get information from the websites. But websites are not able to disclose the information to all the users. Because the websites are able to make them as the users, make all the users has to be the domain users. So if anybody wants to see the contents of that website, he must be sign up, he must be a register to that website, so that he can able to access the link, and he can able to get all the information from that website. So that is a crucial component in the web applications point of view. And only the right users have the right level of access to the right resource. Whoever is the right user, and he is the right level of access to the right resources. So the users are limited, and the resources are also limited to the particular users, whoever authorized. So that users has to access that level only. In suppose you can take banking system. A manager is there. Under that manager, assistant manager is there. Under that assistant manager, some clerks are there. Clerks and POs. Clerks and POs are there. So the level of accessing the data is limited to the particular users. The level of accessing the data is limited to the particular users. So clerks can able to perform the deposit transactions or voucher transactions or withdrawal transactions, but assistant managers can have the right, can have the access to takes the gold loans or crop loans or something, loans or assurance. And the manager level, he can access all the levels whoever under the lower level of that manager role. So he can have all the access levels. That is what we are going to say that here. Right users, only the right users have the right level to access the right resources. So clerk can able to access at this particular level, assistant manager can access to particular this level, and the manager can access only to particular this level. So that is what we are going to implementing this access control mechanism for all the users in the corporate sector or organizational sectors. What are the components of access control actually? So what are the components of access control? So to implementing access control mechanisms, what are the components we have to require? So the first one is what? Authentication. The first one is what? Authentication. Second one is what? Authorization. Second one is what? Authorization. Third one is access. And fourth one is manage. And the fifth one is audit. So the person has to authenticated and authorized, and he can able to access. If and only if he is not authorized or not authenticated, he cannot able to access. He cannot able to access. So that he cannot able to manage the data also. So that he cannot able to manage the data, and he cannot able to come to the audit operations. He cannot able to come to the point of that audit operations. So these are the components. One is authentication and authorization and access and manage and audit. So these are all the components of access control. So just we look for this all: authentication, access control, authorization and manage. So we'll look at here. So the first one is what? Authentication. So authentication is the initial process of establishing the identity of a user. So that is nothing but we are going to register ourselves. If you want to access the information from the website or any organization, he must be a user. He must be a user of that authentication. He must be user of that website. So what he wants to do? He wants to sign. When a user signs into their mail service or online banking account with a username and password combination, their identity has been authenticated. Their identity has been authenticated. So he must be as a user. He must be as a user of that organization, or as a user must be user of a website. Must be a user of a website. So he has to sign the email service, he has to sign the banking sector, anywhere. He can provide usernames and passwords. And the next one is what? Authorization. The next one is what? Authorization. It adds an extra layer of security to the authentication process. He adds an extra layer of security to that authentication process. So it specifies that access rights and privileges to the resources to determine whether the user should be granted access to the data or make a specific transaction. So he must be authorized. He is the level that he can able to access that particular point of transactions or not. So here that specifies that he has some privileges. He has to grant some access to the data or make specific transactions. So he must be a valid user to that particular websites or to particular organizations. And third one, access. So once a user has completed the authentication and authorization steps, so if the user has been become a authenticated or authorized user, their identity will be verified. This grants them to the resource they are attempting to log in. This grants them to access all the levels or access a particular level to the particular user based on the user type. Based on the user type, we can able to access that particular level. So that is the access mechanism. And manage. So organizations can manage their access control system by adding and removing the authentication and authorization of the users, of their users and systems. So they can able to manage all the users and all the access control mechanism for the particular users and particular systems. So managing these systems can become complex in modern IT environments that compromise cloud services and on-premises systems. On-premises systems. So that whoever the users are going to be adding the roles and removing the roles is completely managed by this manage component in the access control. And how does an access control mechanism? How does access control mechanism? So how we are going to access that particular level or particular organization principles. So access control is used to verify the identity of users attempting to log in into the digital resources. So digital resources are nothing but everything. We are fetching the data from the digital, fetching the data from online. So verify the identity of users attempting log into the digital resources. But it is also used to grant access to physical buildings and physical devices also. So it is also used to grant access to the physical buildings and physical devices. So we are going to provide particular devices to the particular areas and particular persons to the particular locations. So that particular person is limited to the particular location only. So you can able to access only particular location. Suppose if you can take any of devices like hotspot devices, you can able to access the network up to surrounding 15 meters or 20 meters or 500 meters, maximum 500 meters, maximum 500 meters. So like the way you can access the network with the physical buildings and physical devices throughout, they are going to access granted. So how we are going to access in the physical point of view and the digital point of view. So there are two types of access controls are there actually. So one is physical access control and second one is logical access control. One is physical access control and second one is logical access control. So common examples of physical access controls here including that. So first one is barroom bouncers. So bouncers can establish an access control list to verify that users IDs and ensure people entering bars are of a legal age. So when the people are standing outside of the bar, outside of the institutions, outside of the cinemas, everywhere, the bouncers are used to verify that users IDs. That is nothing but ticket IDs, anything you can say that. So if that is valid, if that peoples are valid, then you can able to enter them into the bars or cinemas or institutions or anywhere. So those are the physical access control types. And the second one, subway turnstiles. Subway turnstiles. So access control is used at subway turnstiles to only allow verified people. So to only allow verified people to use subway systems. So we are already said that the restricted people are going to access that particular restricted levels. So whoever has the authorized to particular accessing that level can access that level only. They are not able to access all the levels. So like the way you can understand, only allow verified people to use subway systems. Subway users can cards that immediately recognize the users and verify that they have enough credit to use the services. So in the metro systems, we are going to have some metro cards. So metro cards are validated our data and they can able to log into the system or they can able to enter into the metro station or exited from the metro station. So the tickets validated. The tickets are validated. So that is what we understand from this sentence. And next one, key card or badge scanners. Key cards are badge scanners in corporate offices. So organizations can protect their offices by using some scanners that provide mandatory access control. Employee needs to scan a key card or badge to verify their identity before they can access the building. So the employees who are working under the corporate offices or organizations, they can able to show their ID cards or show their scanners. So their scanners to verify its identity and they can able to access that particular building or access that particular location or access that particular organization. So by verifying that identity of the particular user, he is the member of this area, or he is the member of this organization, so that he is validated and he can able to enter into the college, or enter into the organization or corporate office anywhere. So that are the key card or badge scanners. They are also physically. So these are the physical access controls. So one is bar and bouncers, the second one is subway turnstiles, and third one is key card or badge scanners in corporate offices. And logical or information access control. So logical or information access control. So logical access control involves some tools and protocols being used to identify, authenticate, and authorize users in computer systems. So here the persons are not identified, the person's data is identified, and the person's data is verified. So for that we are being implemented some tools or protocols that being used to verify that identity, authenticate, and authorize users in computer systems. So the access controller system enforces measure of data, and it is processes, and it is programmed, and it is a systematic. So the access controller system enforces that the measures of data and the processes and programs and systems. So here, how can we access login into the system by logically? So the first one is what? Signing into your laptop using password. So here the person is not verified actually. The person provides some credentials, that is authorization or authentication. So the person can able to type a username and passwords. So here common form of data loss is through devices being lost or stolen. So users can keep their personal and corporate data secure by using providing passwords. So users must be create a username and password to log onto the system, so that the other user cannot able to log onto the system. Only the who knows that username and password, they can able to log into the system. So that is what signing into the laptop using a password. And unlocking a smartphone with a thumbprint scan. So the smartphones can also be protected with the access controls that allow only the users to open the device. So users can secure their smartphones by using biometrics such as thumbprint scan. So they can able to give the biometric option for the security purpose, so that users can access that mobile through only thumbprint scan. So such as thumbprint scan to prevent unauthorized access to their device. So that if you can provide that thumbprint scan, so no other users cannot able to log into the system. No other users cannot able to access that mobile also. So because thumbprints are huge, different for all the users. So thumbprints are all different for all the users, because no one is having the same thumbprints. So like the way we can provide that security mechanism to protect our mobile also. And remotely accessing employer's internal network using a VPN also. So remotely accessing an employer's internal network using a virtual private network also. So smartphones, laptops can also be protected with access controls that allow only the users to open the device in another location, is called as remote location. So the persons, whoever is presented here, but the device is outside of the country or outside of the city, so the persons can able to access that devices from here. They can able to access remotely accessing with the help of some methods. So that is nothing but remotely accessing an employer's internal network using a VPN. So location called as remote location, and users can access from different location to the different systems. So the users can able to access the different systems. So these are the logical access controls. Now from this point of view, what we understand, what is the difference between authorization and authentication. So what is meant by authentication and what is the authorization? These two are the components of access control. So here authentication and authorizations are crucial to access control and security, because if these two are not validated, the user cannot able to access the system or access the device, and user cannot able to monitor or manage. User cannot able to modify or manage, and user cannot able to audit the reports also. So if and only if the user has to be authenticated and authorized, only they can able to access the system, manage the system, and audit the system. So what is meant by authentication? So it is the process of login to the system, such as an email address, online booking services, or social media accounts. So for all the social medias, we have usernames and passwords. So definitely we have to use that username and passwords to log on to that particular accounts. And authorization is the process of verifying that the user's identity, provide an extra layer of security that the user is who they claim to be. So providing the usernames and passwords to log on to the system, providing the usernames and passwords log on to the systems. So these are the difference between authentication and authorization. And what is the importance of access control in regular compliances? So where we can use this access control mechanisms, and where we can see that access control is limited for all the users and all the things. So here access control is crucial to helping an organizations to comply with various data privacy regulations. So these include, first one, Pci Dss. So Pci Dss stands for Payment Card Industry Data Security Standards. So Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard is a security standard that protects the payment card ecosystems. An access control system is a crucial to permitting or denying transactions and ensuring the identity of the users. So the payment cards, we are swiping the cards, we are paying the amount through Paytms and phone pays everywhere. So the payment cards, whenever you are swiping, it is asking you to provide the password, and you have to enter the password, and you have to keep your card certain distance from that swiping cards also. Some of the swiping cards are Wi-Fi enabled, so that all the cards related to the payments are to be away from that cards, because some Wi-Fi cards are able to access immediately at the in front of the card systems only. So the payment card industry data security standards are maintaining that privacy regulations to protect the payment card systems. And second one is health, HIPAA, HIPAA, we can say that. So the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. It was created to protect patient health data from being disclosed without their consent. So without the user's consent, they cannot able to disclose the patient details. So access control is vital to limiting access to authorized users, ensuring people cannot access data that is beyond their privileged level, and preventing data breaches also. And the next one, service organization controls. So here also we can use this different access control mechanism. Service organization control too. So is an auditing procedure designed for service providers that store customer data in the cloud. So service providers, whoever providing services, they can have all the customers' data in the cloud, but they cannot able to disclose that all the customers' data into the public, right? So that are the service providers having that all the customers' data. It ensures that providers protect the privacy of their customers and requires organizations to implement and follow strict policies and procedures around customer data. So they are ordering that all the institutions or all the organizations to implement certain strict policies and procedures around customers' data to keep very safe. And access control systems are crucial to enforcing these strict data security process. So access control systems are crucial to enforcing these strict data security process. And the next one, ISO 27001. So International Organization for Standardization, that is nothing but International Standard Organization, defines that security standards that organizations across all industries need to comply with and demonstrate to their customers that they take security seriously. So it is the ISO's gold standard of information security and compliance certification. Implementing access controls is a crucial to complying with the security standards. So international standard organizations defines that security standards so that organizations across all the industries needs to comply with the demonstrate to their customers that they take security seriously. So this is what we having some importance of the securities in the access control, right? So the next one is what different types of access controls. So we can have different types of access controls. There are various types of access controls that organizations can implement to safeguard their data and users. So the first one is what attribute based access control. First one is what attribute based access control. So the person or data are nothing but attributes. So here attribute based access control is a dynamic and it is a context based policy that defines access based on policies granted to users. The system is used in identity and access management frameworks. And the second one is what discretionary access control. So it allows the data owner to decide access control by assigning access rights to the rules that user specifies. So the data owner has to provide some certain rules and regulations to the users, whoever having the lower levels, and they can able to give the separate levels of the rights to all the users. So when a user is granted access to the system, they can then provide access to other users as they see fit. So the data owner has to verifies that all the users are fit to particular level or not. If that particular level is fit to the next particular user is fit to next level, then he can able to give the rights or give the access to that particular users. So that is a discretionary access control. And a mandatory access control. So mandatory access control, it places strict policies on individual users and the data, resources and systems they want to access it. So they can apply the strict policies on individual users or individual data and individual resources, individual systems. And the policies are managed by organization's administrator. The policies are managed by organization's administrator. So users are not able to alter, revoke or set permissions. So normal users cannot able to alter the data, alter the network, alter the systems, revoke and set permissions. So only the administrator can able to do this all. And role-based access control. Role-based access control creates permissions based on groups of users, roles that users hold, and actions that users take, So users are able to perform any action enabled by their role and cannot change the access control level they are assigned. So whoever suppose in the corporate offices, the senior manager or general manager is assigned to all the certain levels to the certain users. So the project manager can access only certain level. The normal employee can access particular level, and the assistant manager can have access to particular level. So they can assign all the roles to access their levels. So that is nothing but role-based access control. And a break glass access control. So break glass access control involves the creation of an emergency account that bypasses the regular permissions. So whenever the emergency situation exists, at that moment, that creation of an emergency account that bypasses the regular permissions. So you can break the regular permissions because of this emergency issues. In the event of this critical emergency, the user is given immediate access. To a system or account they would not usually be authorized to use. So even if the person is not authorized, they can able to access that particular level if the situation is very critical, if the situation is very critical emergency. So at that moment the roles has to be assigned to that lower level also. And next one, rule based access control. Rule based access control. A rule based approach sees a system admin defined rules that govern access to corporate resources. So they can have some certain rules or certain governed rules. So these rules are typically built around the conditions such as the location or time of day that users access the resources. The users access the resources. So rule based, so they are providing some rules. Based on that rules only they can able to access that services or access that resources. Other than that they cannot able to access that rules, access that rules. So these are the different types of rules. These are the different types of rules that access control types we can discuss in this one. So see what we discussed in this session actually. So we discussed in this session about what is meant by network, what is the definition of network, and what is the definition of security, and what is the definition of network security. So different types of common security methods. In nowadays we are giving a lot of information about each and every person to all the different social media accounts and different organizations, and everywhere we are providing our data without knowing of ourselves. So the common security methods we have to keep our data is to be safe. And here access control mechanisms and the components of access control, and the components of access control. So we can see here authentication, authorization, access, manage, audit, and everything. So how does access control works actually? The physical access control, and there are two types: physical access control and logical access control. So based on the persons verified and users verification, they can able to access into the system. And what is the difference between authentication and organization, authorization? And what is the importance of access control in regular compliances? So different types of access control mechanisms: attribute based, discretionary access control, mandatory access controls, role based, break glass, and rule based. So these are all the different types of access control mechanisms or access control topics we have to understand from this network security. So to understand the network security, we must understand that access control. So access control is a crucial component for all the web applications security or organization security policies anywhere. System security, network security, and data security. Anywhere we can have this access control is the crucial component, right? So thank you all.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.